Gospel 1680 WOKB, your urban empowerment and inspiration station.
We are the pulse. Without a pulse, you're dead.
We are the heart and soul of the community. Gospel 1680 AM.
Welcome to another edition of Real Family Talk. Welcome to Real Family Talk. This is your host, Jay Real. I hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday evening. You can turn my music down now, sir. You don't want the people to hear me? Is that what it is? That's what happens when Mr. King gets in the building. There's always going to be some shenanigans.
Indeed. It's always going to be some kind of vice presidential shenanigans.
Oh, boy. I want to welcome everybody to the show tonight. Again, this is Real Family Talk. This is your host, Jay Real. I hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday evening. Let me go ahead and welcome everybody in the building today. Miss Tamia Brinson's in the building, rejoicemagazine.net. How you doing?
I am blessed.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what
Truly
I'm talking
blessed.
about. You sound like somebody has some great news today.
I'm blessed.
Sound like somebody who got some money in her pocket.
Oh, that's always.
She just got paid.
I mean, I ain't never broke.
Uh-oh.
Maybe that too. Okay. Miss McCrae's in the building, a.k.a. Better. How you doing tonight, Miss McCrae?
Each day gets better.
That's what I'm talking about. And then, obviously, Mr. King's in the building. How you doing, sir?
All right. It's Tuesday.
It's
Tuesday. Wednesday.
Wednesday, yes,
What's
sir.
today?
Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's Wednesday.
I'm going to need you to remember it's hump day, sir.
Well, hey, I'm single. Ain't nobody humping around.
Oh, all righty then.
All right, Bobby Brown.
I'm going to leave that alone. Of course, we're going to get into some topics today. Jason Henry's going to be calling in a little bit later as well. So we'll be hearing from him today as well. But first up, man, let's just get right into it. What everybody is talking about all day long. They're talking about this news story in South Carolina where the cop is actually going to be charged for murder. That's the thing I applaud, man. They're actually going to charge somebody for murder for killing somebody. Imagine that.
How about that?
Imagine that an officer kills somebody and he's actually going to be charged for murder. Now, that has nothing to do with whether or not he'll be convicted.
Right.
But he is at least charged. So what happened?
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Look,
We'll see, sir.
we'll see.
That's why they have a trial.
Yeah.
We'll
You know
see.
how that's going.
But yes, in South Carolina, there was a white officer who pulled over a black man for some kind of traffic violation. I don't remember hearing about what the traffic violation was, but at some point, the black man ended up running away from the officer. I don't know what happened to cause him to run away, but he ended up running away from the officer. And according to from what we saw in the video, at that point, the officer pulled out his gun and then began to shoot the man as he was running away. Okay, I heard some report that said he shot 8 times. I don't know how many of those 8 they actually hit the man, but they say he shot 8 times. Ultimately, what happened? The man fell to the ground. He was obviously killed at that point. The officer walked over to him, put him in handcuffs while he was lying on the ground. Apparently didn't even check to see what the damage was from the shots he had just fired off. But put him in handcuffs as he laid on the ground, flat, on his face or whatever, and then walked away and then began to call in to report the incident. So I don't know how long from the time that he handcuffed him to the time that he realized he actually was handcuffing a dead man. I don't know how much time elapsed, but really, you shoot a man and then you handcuff a man lying on the ground that you just shot without any semblance of, let me see if he's alive, if he's dead, or go ahead, Chris Shaw.
Well, initially he got stopped for a busted tail light.
A tail light.
Yeah, he got stopped for a busted tail light. What I'm trying to piece together is that the car, according to the video, the car was in a parking lot, and they were like somewhere off in like a wooded area, away from the car. I'm trying to figure that out. It just looked like 2 different scenes to me. In the midst of that second scene, The only clip that I saw was the young man running from the police officer. The police officer pulled out his gun, shot off 8 shots. It was 8 shots that were shot off, and called it in, saying shots are fired, and something else that was said. Went and handcuffed the young man, and then last thing I heard was that he attempted to take his taser.
The taser, yeah.
Yeah.
Planted it.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, he planted the taser to corroborate his story.
I heard that too. Mm-hmm. So something ain't right about the whole scenario because, like I said, the car is in a parking lot, but they look like they're in a wooded area somewhere, which is far off from where he got stopped at with the traffic light. But my thing was, why did he run?
Right.
They said he was. It was like
about that, too.
outstanding warrant or whatever for child support.
Okay.
Child support payments.
I still don't think he should have ran, but
I mean, yeah.
But even
it
if he, you know,
was
I think
panicking,
him
but-
running, obviously, because I've even heard some people talk about this, and there were some people commenting, well, he was running away, so you know maybe there's some justification of him getting shot. But it's like, no,
I beg
No,
to
not
differ.
when your back is
That's-
turned and you don't have a weapon.
I'm
How is
running-
that a threat?
I'm running away from you.
Exactly.
So
Right.
what kind of threat am I posing to you if
To
I'm
you,
running
exactly.
away from you?
At that point, to me, you know, if I'm running away from you, I'm not. Obviously, I'm afraid of you, clearly. And then if I'm running away from you, I probably can't protect myself, right? Because if I could, then I wouldn't be necessarily running, you know, logically. So why not, even if you're going to shoot him, okay, maybe that's your solution. Okay, I think I disagree with it. But, hey, shoot him in the back of the leg, take out a knee, you know, take out a foot. You know,
But
why are we doing shots to the back of the head or necessarily to the torso? That's what
But
I'm
we
saying.
already know police officers are trained shoot to kill.
True.
Well,
We already
I
know
think
that.
He got fired based on, he got fired, right?
Yes,
he
I
got
saw
fired
it.
based on the fact that that's against protocol. When you're running away, you don't shoot to kill, especially when you only shoot to kill when you feel like you're in threat, and he didn't have a weapon also.
Right, and then and the weapon he's claiming he had was a stun gun, you know. Still
That was
talking about
planted, the same one that was planted.
Right. And that's the whole thing about it. It's like you don't even see what happened before. You just see the man turning, running, and then he getting shot. So you don't know why he's running. You don't know why they's over there. It's too many whys. It's too many questions. And I don't even think they're showing us the entire video. Something has to be up with that. And then the dude didn't. My thing was this. I was talking to somebody else who saw the video, and we was like, well, what if the person recording the video would have said something? Hey, I'm over here recording. You know, what if the person recording the video would have said anything? Would the police officer still had shot the man?
He probably would have got shot himself.
Well, I mean, but
Right.
still, it's just the point that instead of trying to record it so that you can put something on Facebook so you can try to be 15 minutes of fame, get my video up trending, you could have done something. You could have said something, at least gave a try, instead of hiding back with a video camera. That's my only thing with that.
Well, I don't know. I don't necessarily think
don't
if the
think
man
I
had
would've done
acknowledged
that.
his existence that would have changed anything. There is other video because apparently there was video from the cop car that has not been released. So there is other videos, not necessarily of this particular incident, but there's other video footage to watch in relation to potentially what led us to whatever it began, and then obviously the end result. So there's some uncharted video that we have not seen. Jeremy is in the building. Jeremy, you got any comments, sir? There you go.
There we go.
I'm in the building. No more than what y'all said. It's just, I was just shocked when it was scrolling down Facebook. I believe it was yesterday, and I saw that they were charging. I was like, wow, you know, that was a big deal. But the thing that I really like about it, you know, even if he doesn't get convicted, the mayor came out and say, we were wrong. You know, he said we were wrong. Apologized to the family, and he said, you know, if somebody messed up on their job and they wrong, you know, they gotta have to pay the consequences. So, I mean, that's a step in the right direction. You know, we can only hope for steps. You know,
Right. Well, we'll see what happens, man. We're gonna definitely
I'm
be.
sorry.
Go ahead, sir.
But then, too, you got to look at so many other things that's been happening over the last several years.
yeah.
So for the mayor to come out and say something like that it's a sense of saying, okay, the mayor really had to sit back and think about this thing.
Right.
Coming from his point of view.
Exactly.
Okay, you got Trayvon Martin, you got Eric Gardner, you got Brother Brown, and the other kid in Cleveland, Ohio.
Tamir
Okay,
Rice.
so let me think about this thing. I saw the video. This is what happened. Okay, as a result to this video, this is the situation that's going to have to take place. So he really had to sit back and think about that thing before he could publicly come out and say something.
Right. And you know, and I think too, they wanted to, you know, he had somebody in his ear as well, you know, making sure that he came out correctly.
A good what they call in person?
It's called a board. We gonna meet on this.
There's a meeting convened
Okay.
to determine the proper thing to say. But I, like I said, I'm like you. When I saw that he was actually charged, I was at least encouraged that we got beyond what happened to at least we get a charge. You know, where the charge goes, I don't know, but at least you got the charge
They
Without
probably didn't like
protest.
him
without
anyway.
protest.
Yeah, they probably didn't like him anyway.
Wow.
I see Jason Henry's on the phone. How you doing, Jason?
Hey, what's going on, man?
I'm doing all right, sir. You got any comments on this South Carolina thing, man?
I mean, yes and no. No, in terms of I haven't watched the video. I can't bring myself to watch it yet. And yes, that it seems that we finally have the perfect victim regarding how America treats African Americans who are killed by police officers. So it seems that all the circumstances have lined up perfectly. He was running away. He wasn't armed. He didn't seem to pose a threat. The cop was charged with murder. So it seems that the circumstances have lined up perfectly where America can finally say that you actually have a martyr that we can get behind as opposed to Michael Brown. So the other part of it that's interesting is that I saw an account earlier today about it where they said that witnesses and evidence lined up to say that the gentleman, Mr. Scott, was actually reaching for the cop's taser and he ran away, and that's why the cop shot him, which sounds oddly familiar to what happened in Ferguson. But, of course, we didn't have video with that one. So now that we have video, it seems that everybody's saying, okay, see, now you can get mad and you can get angry because we're telling you that it's okay because everything lines up with what we believe in. So that's the interesting part of it to me, that, you know, we're kind of being told that, yeah, it's fine for you to get upset about this, but for Michael Brown, that's the wrong person to be the leader of your movement. Walter Scott is the right one.
Right. I noticed that today. I listened to a lot of conservative radio, and there was zero opposition today as to this man being charged and whether or not it was the right thing to do. I mean, didn't hear. I mean, you did have an occasional caller or two that called in and wanted to, we haven't seen all the evidence and, maybe there's something else out there that we didn't see. But just from the host perspective, I mean, it was across the board. This is wrong. He should have been charged. This is not proper use of a firearm, blah, 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 blah. So that to me has also been very interesting, that you finally see this consensus out there with a particular case where it's always been a little iffy whether or not what the opinions were before. So it has been interesting.
Well, it shows that, even sometimes when you have video and everything lines up, people will still try to discredit it. So it doesn't matter. In certain cases, it doesn't matter, what the evidence shows. It doesn't matter what a witness may show. If you go back and read what some of those accounts were, the police officer was justified until the family's attorney released that video to the New York Times. That's when everybody said, oh, well, not everybody, but that's when it was released to the general public, and people got a different view of what it was. Because prior to that, it was, the cop was probably justified, and now that's no longer the case.
So I'm sorry, Jason, don't you think that's a case for body cams?
Well, yes. I think that all police officers should be required to wear body cams, yes. On the other side of that, that doesn't mean that that's going to bring more transparency to the process, because there's even a bill in the Florida Senate right now where police officers are allowed to turn off their body cameras if they enter your residence. So let's just say you and your husband have a domestic dispute, and you're in your pajamas and your husband is stark naked, and you don't want that information or you don't want that video to be held by the police, they're allowed to turn those cameras off. So if something happens in your private residence between you and that police officer, it's going to be your word against him.
Okay, but that's a distraction. I'm talking about somebody getting shot. Okay, Jason.
No. We're talking. That's still a body camera issue. I'm just bringing up an example of how that can be used negatively. I'm not saying that I'm for or against the bill. I'm just telling you in terms of how they may be used either for good or for bad.
But look at the situation with the young man and the screwdriver, where they had a body camera and they had audio also, but the person with the body camera turned so the body camera couldn't see what was going on.
Well, again, body cameras aren't going to be the end-all, be-all to every
it's
single case.
Absolutely not a silver bullet, but
it's there to help.
But in our cases, we do need it. Okay, this is my point.
What we do as an African American, it still may not be enough in certain cases.
Right. And I think that's something that we've just come to understand.
Okay, I'll take it.
I mean, obviously, I'm making light of it. Obviously, it's not right. We should get that fair shot just as anybody else. But I mean, reality has shown us that you're going to have just a little bit more than the speculation.
Evidence.
You're going to have some clear
evidence.
Clear evidence. And then in most cases, you don't need a part of the video. You're going to need all of the video.
So, it seems like we're guilty until we're proven innocent.
We need the whole hour, not just the 20 minutes of the incident. So
yeah, I mean, it's like that Boondocks episode where my man was blind and was still charged with murder, even though they had the white guy on camera basically saying that he was shooting the police officer, saying what his intentions were. They had him on video shooting and killing the cop, and the guy was still convicted. The blind black man who could not see, they did not have any evidence against him. Of course, this is a cartoon that I'm referencing, but it kind of mirrors, what happens in real life to minorities, specifically black Americans, when it comes to our word against the police officer. Sometimes evidence just isn't enough, and in this case, hopefully, the minute he's been charged, and we'll see what happens when he goes to trial. So hopefully there'll be enough where he'll get a conviction and enough years where, and you know what? And I'm sorry, let me back up a little bit. If he's convicted, and let's just say he only gets a 10 to 15 year sentence, or maybe something a little longer, I think that may give credence to the argument from the other side that, see, this is a good thing for the justice system in America. You no longer have anything to complain about because we actually convicted someone for doing something wrong, but that may discount all the other police brutality cases that happen across the country.
Or he can just go ahead and hang himself and get it over with.
Well, that's
wow.
We don't advocate for that.
We don't
advocate.
We don't advocate that. I mean, come on now. I mean, wow.
I'm not advocating. I'm just saying that could happen.
I hope not.
Well, let's hope not. Let's hope he goes to trial. I want to see him go to trial, and I want to see what happens in the trial. Because clearly, this is not, like I said, this video that we're seeing that looks, is very damaging to any defense that he could potentially come up with. There is other video out there that they're going to obviously release, not necessarily to the public, but once the trial begins, they're going to actually show it in the trial. And so I'd be interested to see what the other videos that they have, what they show, and then what kind of slant is put on that side of the video, whatever that is. I don't know what it's going to be. I just know that they've acknowledged that there are other videos. So just interesting to see when the trial happens and those videos gets released, what slant they put on those videos for him to be able to come up and actually put up some kind of defense against what clearly he did in the video that we have seen. So I'm just curious to see how it goes down. Like I said, at the end of the day, I'm just glad to see we actually got a charge for a situation where a officer killed a unarmed black man. I'm just happy to see we got a charge. That's the first step, right? You got to get a charge.
4,000 isn't bad.
And so we'll see what happens next.
And here's the thing: trial comes, the victim will be on trial. We already know that they're gonna bring up all his dirt.
I don't think so.
Well.
This time,
just
I
like
don't think
Trayvon,
so because it's a lot of white people. Excuse the terminology, but it's a lot of white people that are that I've heard today that are like, well, dog, he really need to do life.
We'll
but
see.
the defense attorney,
We'll see.
if he earned his check, he's going to put the victim on trial.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I would if I was his defense attorney.
Right. They're gonna bring in whatever dirt that they can on this man, but it will be hard to defend what we saw in the video unless, like I said, we'll see what else. We'll see what other videos they bring
Say
out.
it's digital.
To bring out the woodwork. We'll see what else they put in there. Wow, Miss Benson, you're going for it tonight, huh?
I mean, he just can't. I'm just saying.
She's on fire.
Not
tonight.
advocating, but he could hang himself. It's a possibility.
Yeah, you're swinging for the fences on that one.
I know.
I know that's right.
Saying. People do.
All right, man. Something else that happened today, they actually got convictions as well in the Boston Marathon.
What a surprise.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a surprise. I was laughing today to myself when I heard they were talking about the gentleman. I'm not going to butcher his name because I really don't know how to say it. Do you know how to say it, Miss McCray? You're usually good with these kinds of things. But the gentleman, they were like, oh, I just can't believe it. They were talking about his affect once the verdict was read, and he was like, oh, he was just a blank stare. You know, and I'm thinking to myself, well, what is he supposed to have?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, should he be crying? Like, he's known, ever since the
it
trial
happened.
began and they arrested him.
Right.
It was only a matter of time before they convicted him of everything that they could convict him of. You know, so
Everything.
it's not a surprise. I mean, he's had
They got him
several months
got him for-
to prepare to
They got him for
hear
littering and everything.
these verdicts. I mean, what was he supposed to be? You know, like I guess they expected him to
How
be
you
crying.
find 30 charges on one person? I mean, wow. I ran into a situation. I thought I had one charge, and they threw some on. I'm like, what? Hold on. I just did one thing.
They find
They're
it.
going to get everything they can in this particular situation. And they got it. They got all 30 counts. And so now they're just basically waiting for sentencing to confirm that the jury is actually going to give him the death penalty as opposed to life. So we'll see what happens. If they give him life, ooh, it's going to be hell.
Okay.
You know, I wonder if why they go do like they did McVeigh. They go usher him to the front line. Because McVeigh didn't he die before Ted Bundy? I mean, it was like they convicted him the next year. He executed him. Like, what? People be on death row 30 years.
Yeah, I doubt
Nah,
it.
they had to get that white boy up out of here.
And they're going to get him out of here, too. Assuming they give him the death penalty. We'll see what happens. I can't imagine they're not going to give him the death penalty in Boston, but if he gets life, woo, there's going to be some unhappy folks.
Let's see.
There's going to be some unhappy folks.
You know, somebody who might be better off. You talking about hanging themselves?
So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. But Jason, man, talk to me, man. What's going on, man? What's going on in the world?
Well, session is about halfway done. Well, actually, it's more than halfway done. It's less than a month ago. Sine Die is actually May 1st in Florida, but there hasn't been much movement so far. The only thing that is really getting a lot of traction is that budget talks have really stalled, and it's really hung up on Medicaid expansion. Last week, there were 7 House Democrats who voted with the House Republicans to approve their budget, and the progressive / leftist wing of the party called them sellouts because they voted for a budget that did not include Medicaid dollars. But on the other side of that, there was an amendment attached to the budget that deleted the Senate's budget that did include Medicaid expansion, but there was a Republican who was chair of the House Appropriations Committee that said that he will not include any type of money in the House version of the state's budget for Medicaid expansion because he doesn't believe in it, one, and he's not going to, quote, dance with the Senate this year, this summer, next summer, or next session. So as long as he is in charge of money flowing through the House, and that's House Representative Richard Corcoran, you will not see Medicaid expansion. So on the Senate side, Senate President Andy Gardner is a champion for it. It's sort of a privatized version of Medicaid expansion under Obamacare, where they will actually hand out vouchers to individuals who qualify. But it's at least a start. It would extend it to 800,000 Floridians instead of the little bit over 1 million if they did it cleanly as the Obama administration wants them to do. But at any rate, he is now stating, Senate President Andy Gardner, that if Rick Scott, who has now come out against Medicaid expansion, that if he does not do that, his budget priorities are going to be in danger. He wants additional tax cuts for businesses. He wants to cut the corporate tax rate, and he also wants to expand funding, education funding for K through 12. On the other side of that, LIP funding, which is low-income pool funding that a lot of hospitals in the state of Florida receive from the federal government, if they do not come to an agreement, the federal government and the state of Florida, to extend those LIP funds, then the state of Florida is going to miss out on over $2 billion. So that's a budget hole that they would have to fill, that the governor is kind of balking on, because the federal government is saying that we'll give you this money if you extend Medicaid. And Governor Rick Scott is saying, I'm not extending Medicaid, but you still need to give me the money. And on the other side of that, Senate President Andy Gardner is saying that, well, if you don't make some type of deal with us or with the federal government, your budget priorities are going to be in the toilet. So that is kind of where the hang-up is happening in session right now. Oh, and I'm sorry, gambling. Gambling was another issue that was hot at the start of session. No casinos and no casino expansion for non-Indian non-Seminole tribe owners. You will not see that in the state of Florida this year. However, the Seminole Gaming Compact tribe or agreement expires in July. If that is not extended for another year or two, the state of Florida is going to miss out on $130 million this year. So Rick Scott is kind of batting 0 for 2 right now. He's going for the strikeout. So if he does not make a deal with the Senate president, if he doesn't make a deal with the feds, and if he doesn't make a deal with the Seminole Gaming tribe, then that is going to be close to $3 billion that he's going to lose for the state of Florida.
Mm. And what's the hang up on the gambling? What's the issue that's going on?
The main part is that, number one, you only have, I believe, you have 2 tribes, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce the second one, but I know the majority of the casinos that are run by Indians in the state is by the Seminole tribe. So out of the 7 casinos that they have, the state allows them to operate 5 with blackjack. The reason why that there has not been any type of non-tribe expansion for gambling in the state is because you have a lot of powerful business interests who do not want to see that expanded, e.g. Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, all these conglomerates who own the tourism industry in Central Florida. They don't want to see that expanded because it's going to cut into their business. They've been lobbying against this for a few years now. Representative Danny Young, who is the House Majority Leader, she's a Republican. In her initial bill, which is House Bill 1233, she said that they were going to have 2 large Vegas-style casinos in Broward and Miami-Dade. Now, all of a sudden, that is completely out of the mix, gone. So I can guarantee you that Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, all of these theme park-based organizations are paying a lot of money to ensure that casinos are not seeing the light of day in Central Florida.
See, if I was Disney, though, as much money as I had, I'd see that it passes and then build me a casino on Disney property.
On Disney property.
See,
right on it.
I do not want that.
Mickey Mouse slot machines, Donald Duck slot machines.
No.
I have a Frozen slot machine. I'm trying to tell you, bro.
No, you
know how much money a Frozen slot machine will make?
A Frozen slot machine?
No, you cannot turn Orlando. Look, we have one in Tampa.
Hold on, turn
Tampa
Orlando.
is the drug. I'm sorry. Tampa is a different kind of society than
What's so different
Orlando.
about it?
Orlando
What's
is
so different?
the family friendly. We want to keep it family friendly.
Who said Orlando's family friendly?
I said that.
Oh, but that's
It's
nice.
Disney
Okay.
and SeaWorld. It's
So
family
Disney really family friendly?
Oh God.
I mean, I'm just asking.
Yes.
You sure about that?
Yes.
The
I think more than
magical
anything,
world.
You sure about that?
When you hear
Family
people,
vacation.
Y'all
when
seen
you
some
hear
No, I don't
these
want the
princess dresses?
I don't want the casinos here. Keep them over
when
in
you hear
Tampa.
them say that this is a family-friendly environment, what they're basically saying is that we don't want anybody who's not falling under that umbrella to come and take away some of our money.
Right.
Because that's what would happen, because
That's what
you
it
have a
is.
lot of individuals and a lot of families who will come down and have to make a decision. Now, do I want to go to a casino and spend my time drinking and spending money, or do I want to take my kids to Disney, SeaWorld, and Universal?
Exactly.
I guarantee you, if it was me, I mean, I don't gamble, but if I had a choice, like, yeah, I'm going to go to a casino instead of going to Disney.
No, you know what it is?
But
I
I
think
want to
those
go
are-
away to the casino, not here.
I think they look. Well, you can go elsewhere,
Miami.
but there's some other people that will want to come here.
Oh God.
See, I think they're looking at it wrong. But see, now instead of having your family vacation, well, actually, let's say let's if you have a gambler in the house, let's say that, They'll come with the family for one part of the year, and they'll come with their friends another part of the year. So now you just doubled up.
Oh, my goodness.
If you have a gambler in the family and they planning 2 family trips to a casino, 9 times out of 10 they can only afford one.
That's their problem, not ours.
They're gonna spend their money in Biloxi before they can even make it to Orlando.
Hey,
That's why they build the casino on Disney property, Jason. That way everybody's covered.
Exactly. You send the family to the park.
You
Baby, you take the kids. Baby, you take the kids. I'll be over here.
You guys are corrupt.
We're not corrupt. I'm just saying, we gonna get to the money. Let's get to the money.
No.
I don't think you're going to see that in the next 2 to 3 years. I think, honestly, it's inevitable. It's going to happen eventually.
I believe so, too.
Whether Disney likes it or not, I think that more than anything, yes, they don't want this to cut into their money, but allow them a little bit more time to figure out a plan where they can take a slice of that pie if you can see that this is going to come anyway. So this may just be stall them out for a few more years so we can figure out how we can incorporate this type of business into our plan.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, while we figure this out, and then we can say, okay, you know what? We'll say publicly, we're not necessarily for this, but we're not going to fight you on it. And then maybe a year or two later, roll out a plan to say that, yeah, we're going to have casinos on our property.
Yes. Yeah. And you know if it gets approved, they're going to put casinos on the property.
Yeah. I mean, if nothing else, just release the property, even if they don't run it. And
the other thing is that the bill was for Broward and Miami-Dade to have Las Vegas-style casinos. And the reason why they were fighting against it is because, if you approve it for Miami-Dade and Broward, they're eventually going to want to move north. Right. And the Seminole tribe, they're saying that if this pack isn't extended, they were going to, the Hard Rock Cafe that they own in Hollywood, you need to see the sketches for it. They have a destination-style resort that's in the shape of a guitar that's humongous. That they say is going to bring in more jobs, more construction jobs, is going to be a boost to the local economy. If the governor does not extend that pact or that agreement that they have, they are going to say that we're not going to do this. We're not going to build this new destination resort. We're not going to add on to what we already have. And they may take court.
Okay. And then back to the Medicaid expansion that you were talking about. So, again, we've been talking about Medicaid expansion. It's been going back and forth for a few years now. Even Scott jumped in and actually supported it a couple of years ago during the election season. and now he's of course he's back against it again. I mean, honestly, are we losing out by not having the Medicaid expansion? I mean, if we haven't had it since the inception of when the Obamacare began, are we really losing something now that, potentially we move forward and don't take it?
Well, I think it depends on how you look at it. You're losing in terms of, yes, that you have a lot of low-income individuals who need health insurance, and this would allow them that ability. But technically, you're not losing anything because we haven't necessarily gained it because we haven't extended Medicaid. The funny part is, the Senate Republicans are okay with expanding Medicaid. House Republicans are saying no. So maybe you have more conservative individuals on the House side and maybe more liberal-leaning individuals on the Senate. But the way you have to look at this, or the way I view it from Rick Scott's perspective, is back in 2013 when he said that he cannot, with good conscience, this was a direct quote, with good conscience, deny low-income individuals health care when they need it. His mom had just passed away. I think that she was on Medicaid or was using, or Medicare, I should say, and he was looking at it as, maybe this can help a lot of people. Now that he's in the throes of a tough negotiation with the federal government and he is not up for re-election until he decides to run for Senate in 2018, he's saying that, I'm against it. Until the federal government decides to play ball with the state of Florida, I'm not going to do this. It's not necessarily up to him. It's up to the legislature, but he can always veto the money out of the budget once lawmakers finally finish up session in the next 25 or so days.
All right, I guess we'll stay tuned to see what happens here. Any other big issues happening in the state legislature?
Not much. As I mentioned earlier, there's a body camera bill that got a little bit of attention just because it allows cops to turn them off. Senator Chris Smith and Senator Geraldine Thompson are the ones who introduced that legislation. Representative Chevron Jones has a bill that would.
I was going to ask you about the guns on campus, college campus.
Yeah, that's another one that got a lot of attention before session started, where they were going to vote on a bill that would allow students to actually carry guns on campus. That bill has actually died, from what I understand.
It did? Okay, good.
Yeah, House Speaker, he said that actually there were a number of bad bills that died in session. There was a bill that there was a documentary called "America, Can You Imagine Life Without Her?" that was basically bashing the president. There was a Republican House member who wanted that documentary shown to middle and high school students, required. He wanted them to sit down and watch that, and that didn't make it out of committee. That died in committee. The guns on campus bill died in committee. So a lot of bad bills did die, but when you say die in Tallahassee, you basically mean it's on life support until they adjourn for the year. So as of right now, those bad bills have gone away. There was a bill that did not pass last year, but it did pass this year, where in case of emergency, you can actually carry your gun with you. I believe if the governor or if the federal government says that there's a state of emergency, then I don't think you have to have a permit to actually carry your weapon with you. So that passed. Outside of that, honestly, a lot of things are really hung up because of this budget. And that is the only thing that lawmakers are required by the Constitution to do. They can go there for 60 days and pick their noses as long as they pass their budget. That is all they're required to do. And right now, there's been no movement on doing it.
There's been no movement on doing a budget. Doing budgets in Congress is a tricky thing. Same thing they do.
Is it really tricky, or is everybody just waiting on the right motivation?
Nobody passes a budget.
Is everybody just waiting on the right motivation?
Yeah, I mean, the House and Senate versions are $4 billion apart. So that lets you know how far apart they are. And a lot of that hinges on Medicaid expansion. And because Representative Corcoran, who is the appropriations chair, as long as he says no, that's not going to happen. So I doubt that we'll see Medicaid expansion in Florida this year.
Somebody better call Chief Seminole and get that stuff going on. Something.
This is more of a Hollywood House Bill 451, trying to bring the tax incentive back to Florida to bring more companies to shoot film and television here. Last year, Georgia made $5 billion.
Yeah, Representative Mike Miller was a champion for that bill. If I'm not mistaken, I think that made it to the House floor today. I didn't watch any of the proceedings on the House floor today, but I believe it did. He has been talking about that since he was a candidate before he beat former Representative Linda Stewart. They're saying that would bring a lot of money to the state of Florida. But I think it's all relative, because if we look at it, we had a budget surplus last year, and this year, we could be facing some difficulties based off of some of the moves that our governor and, some certain politicians are making. So let's say, if it brings in $5 billion, if we have a $7 billion shortfall, then, that's still $2 billion that you have to make up. And it depends on, how the state decides to spend that money if it is a surplus.
Okay. I told you I wanted to ask you about the Indiana law, and talk about that for a second. What you guys think about that Indiana law? Go ahead, Jason.
So the Indiana law. So the Indiana I think it's called Religious Restoration Freedom Act or something like that. The difference, Florida has the same bill. They passed it in 1998. The difference between Florida and Indiana is that before it was amended in Indiana, you could actually discriminate. You could basically say that what you believe in or what you're doing, I don't believe in that based off of religion, and I'm not going to service you. And in Florida, we actually have protections against businesses extending that type of discrimination your way. So those were basically the two differences in the Florida and Indiana law. As you probably know by now, Governor Mike Pence, he signed it into law, took a lot of heat for it, and then signed some amendments to it that basically extended those protections to individuals who, say that they are gay, bisexual, lesbian, transgender, to that community. So now that those protections are in place, supposedly you will not have the ability to discriminate. And basically all it was is that if you own, any type of individual business, and I'll use the cake and the pizza shop because that was in the news, if you go there and say, I want you to make my wedding cake, and they find out that you're a gay couple, they basically can say, I'm sorry, that goes against what I believe in, and I'm going to hide under religion. And they could do that. And in the state of Florida, you couldn't. So that was the main sticking point, I guess you can say. And anytime, you insert capitalism into the discussion where a lot of big businesses are saying that we're not going to play the Final Four there next year, we're going to pull some of our offices back, then you can actually have some type of movement.
But here's my question. Is that a bad thing that if you come to me and you tell me you have a gay wedding and I say, well, I really don't want to, so I'd really rather you take your business elsewhere? Have I really discriminated against you?
Yes, because if you as a black man walks in and he decides to say, no, I don't want to make a cake for a black man.
You know what? Honestly,
I don't got no problem with that.
I don't have a problem with
because
that. I'm glad he told me he didn't want to make a cake.
Yeah, because
now I know I can't trust him.
Exactly. That's what I was just gonna say.
I don't want to eat your cake.
I want you to be honest with me, because if I didn't know that and you make my cake, you're like, here you go. Matter of fact, I'm gonna give you 20% off. You'd be like, this man is so nice, and everybody at the wedding sick.
But Jason, you know what I need for them to do all across the land is to define discrimination. Wouldn't that settle all things?
Well, I mean, the thing is, I think we run into some issues if we try to define what discrimination is, because then you'd have individuals who would probably look at it, and I understand this would be the minority that would say, okay, that's not whatever statute or law you created to say that this is discrimination, then I can use this to ensure that I'm not able to service individuals that I do not agree with. So even if that as a black man, I walk into this cake shop and they say, no, I'm not doing that because you are a black man, I may say, that's fine, I'm going to take my business elsewhere, but I still would feel uncomfortable with individuals doing business in my city or county based off of that type of doctrine. I don't want individuals basically saying that I'm going to discriminate you and hide behind religion because it's something that I don't believe in.
Why is it hiding behind religion? How come I hear the narrative that it's hiding behind religion as opposed to discrimination based on my religion?
How is it not hiding behind religion?
How is the gay, the homosexual, or LGBT community discrimination trumps religious discrimination? I don't understand.
I don't think it's necessarily. I don't think we're talking about something that trumps religion.
That's what honestly, it seems like.
Bare bones. We're just talking about discriminating against another individual because you don't agree with their lifestyle. That may be fine for you personally, but you've chosen to do business in a city or a county to extend a service. Under those parameters, based off of city or state law, you are supposed to not discriminate.
But we've always been able to turn down a service if you come in without a shirt on.
No shirt,
no shoes,
no
service.
A sexual orientation or based off of someone
or religion, right?
But
so it needs to be on the same level.
I disagree with that. I think that
why not? It's on the books.
For the history of this country, we have used religion as a way to discriminate against individuals.
That's what you say.
But
I feel discriminated.
That's true. That's in the history.
I feel discriminated against sometimes.
We have used religion,
especially now that the narrative is getting louder and louder.
We have used religion to discriminate. I mean, that was one of the reasons for slavery. They said that in the Bible. They said that the black man was less than the white man. So yeah. I mean, I understand the point, but to me, I saw this story. They were talking about this lady who owned a flower shop. They say I'm assuming it was a real story. I know there's been a lot of speculation going on out there, but according to how the story went, there was a lady who owned a flower shop, and there was this gay man who visited her flower shop consistently, and she consistently, he wanted flowers. She sold him flowers, but he came to her at some point and said, "Hey, I'm having my marriage. Would you do the floral arrangements for my marriage?" And she chose, and according to the story, she told him that she would prefer not to because she did not support gay marriage. So, but she didn't deny him. She denied doing the marriage. At least she said she preferred not to. But I mean, she sold him flowers on a daily, weekly, however often basis she went in. So I mean, really, is that is that just not making a personal choice? Hey, that's an occasion I don't want to do. Because I mean, really, if I'm a cake maker, I don't have to tell you really that I'm not doing yours because I don't support gay marriage. I could just tell you, I'm not doing it because it just doesn't fit in my schedule.
That's what they should have done.
So
I mean, honestly, that's why I say it seems so, like you say, it seems like right now we do a lot for the the LGBT, anytime you bring up LGBT, there is a lot of press pub you can get to support whatever you're doing. It doesn't matter what it is. You just bring it up, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you gotta support it because that's just." And like I think sometimes, it's just a bit too much.
Too much.
I think sometimes
and that's what they said.
I feel discriminated against.
But
when I can't make my decision based on my religion,
a value system of discrimination. It's just making people feel uncomfortable. So if I walk into your shop and tell you that I'm gay and it makes you feel icky, then I'm going to say that I'm not going to service you because I don't agree with your lifestyle, but because it makes you uncomfortable. Who cares what it makes you feel like? Go ahead and take the money.
No, Jason.
No.
Not if
we
I
are
don't
using
believe.
religion as a way to discriminate against people.
Some
I don't care if
people
it's sexual orientation,
Some
race, or
people
whatever,
do.
and it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong.
That's according to you. That's
And
the
me
gospel.
too.
No, that's not
according to
And me
Jason.
too, and to the world.
But my thing is, though, if my religion don't condone gay marriage, I'm not saying, turn them down, period, just because they're gay. That's discrimination. I'm saying if you're asking me to condone what my religion say that you're going against my religion, you're impeding on my religion, and you're trying to force me to condone what you're doing.
But that's one thing. But as a business owner, that's not you saying, "Oh, I condone what you do." You are servicing people in your community for what it is. For you to say, "Oh, I'm not going to do this because you're black or gay or anything else," and by you saying that now these LGBT, Dwayne's on the phone.
Yeah, how you doing, Dwayne? What's your comment tonight?
Yeah, I just want to make two comments about it. The first thing on discrimination. Discrimination used to be based on, what color your skin was. But in this country, we've enlarged that to include, gays and lesbians, which to me is a choice. But as a Christian, I would have to support not allowing them to discriminate and say no, because what's going to happen eventually in this country is now they're going to say, well, because you're a Christian, I don't want to serve you. Mm-hmm. So once you go down that road, you open it up to just about anything. So as a Christian, I'd have to say, no, serve whoever comes across the counter. You don't have to agree with their lifestyle, but I can still serve them once I open up a business, because now as a business, I've come out and started a public service. It's not a private thing anymore.
There you go.
So that's why I don't agree with it.
Slippery
I don't agree with, the homosexuality thing, but eventually now they can start saying, well, based on my religion, I'm a Muslim, I'm not serving Christians.
I mean, they're going to say that anyway because they push their agenda anyway.
Just like
Christians. Appreciate it, Dwayne. Thanks.
Why do we pick and choose what we choose to feel uncomfortable about? Because there are other things in the Bible that say that we are wrong.
I don't feel uncomfortable with them.
If someone comes into your shop and says that I'm cheating on my wife, I want you to make a cake for it. Why do we not?
No, I don't feel uncomfortable. Your money is just as green as the next man.
Okay, but why is it not green?
With my religion, I'm not. By the way, this is my argument as
right,
far as me personally. A gay wedding, look, dude, how many people you say coming?
Right.
But as far as the religious argument, I believe that religious freedom, you should have religious freedom on the same level as you do as LGBT freedom.
You know what? And I
don't think you should impose that on either side.
I'm going to say this, and before
that's a good point.
I love the Lord. Let me say that first and foremost. I do. But Christians, religious people, we're all hypocrites. And I'm so sick of this conversation. I'm bored with it. I'm bored with sexuality. I'm bored with everybody else being in somebody else's business in their bedroom. Who cares? Because you know what? When people talk about gay and lesbians and all that stuff, the people talk about their sex. They don't talk about love. They don't talk about them as human beings. They talk about sex. So who's the pervert? Who's the person that's looking into their lifestyle when everything you look and identify with them is sex?
True.
It's like, come
I
on.
agree with everything you just
we're
said.
hypocrites. And like Jason was saying.
I mean, that's true. It's a lot of hypocrites. Doesn't mean that
we're all hypocrites.
Doesn't mean that I have to give away my religious beliefs.
I would say this.
Saying, you picking and choosing.
I mean, no, I'm not picking and choosing. I'm demanding that you respect my religion like I have to respect you.
Hold on. I would say this. As a private business owner, and just so you know, I am black. I don't care if I walk in the restaurant and the white dude say, I'm not serving you because you an N-word. I'm like, okay. And I'm just going to walk out and leave because I don't want to serve you. You know I don't want to go there because I don't want to give you none of my money. And I'm glad that you told me, so I didn't give you some of my money. Because y'all don't know how much money we handing out to people that cannot stand us. But they're greedy enough. They're capitalistic enough to ignore that. And they like green. They love money more than they hate anything.
Oh,
I would
yeah.
hope.
Yeah, I told you, like I said, I would take
And
the money.
honestly, I honestly do. You know, I honestly do not. As a private business owner, now if you're talking about you work for the government, you work for. I mean, obviously, there's rules and regulations to people who have government contracts and things of that nature. But honestly, as a private business owner, please let me know. I would sure enough be happy not to frequent your place of business. I would just love it. I would rather you be honest with me.
Exactly. I don't see why they want to go there anyway.
You know, and I'm just saying the place now. I'm on the. I'm a little. What can I say? I'm not on the fence about it. I would say this: if you come into the shop and say, "Hey, it's a wedding, flowers, da 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 da," boom, okay, whatever. But like I said, if you're a Christian, say, "Hey, I'm having a gateway," I'm gonna tell you straight up, "Hey, I mean, I'll support it." You know, I tell you what, I can recommend another flower shop that would have no problem servicing you.
But exactly, that's what
It's something. It's something wrong with that.
How many
You're
people?
saying that
how
you
many
don't
people
support
you
it.
got?
Yeah,
You're
I'm
not
just saying I
saying
don't
because of
support-
your
yeah.
religious beliefs.
But that's what they're saying.
That's
That's
the
the problem.
whole-
Why can't I? I'm just saying, as a
You
business owner, it's my business. I put the
Exactly.
money up. Why can't I do that?
But don't say it's because of your religious beliefs. Just say because you don't want to support it. Don't say because of
and
your
I'm
religious
so like this. I'm not gonna lie to you and say I'm booked up. I don't want to do it. But I tell somebody who don't have a problem doing it, and he
Yeah.
help you out, and he's just as good as I am, if not better.
You know,
I
another
think
thing,
they just need to get
why
a little
do we
smarter
think it's
and
okay
just say
to
I'm
tell
booked?
people what we are uncomfortable with when it comes to gay and lesbian individuals?
Oh no, I'm like this. No, I'm
mean,
like this.
I
I don't
don't
know.
No, it's just a general
Uncomfortable.
question. I'm not posing that necessarily to what you said.
Oh, okay.
But usually when we're having these arguments and conversations, it always goes back to the LGBTQ community.
No,
Right.
this is the
Cares
problem,
what
Jason.
makes you
Everything.
uncomfortable.
This is the problem, Jay. This is the problem. The country itself is just so PC. Nobody wants to say anything about anything anymore. If everybody be straight up honest, you walk down the street, you don't like white people, black people, gay people, whoever. Let's just be open and honest with everything. We wouldn't have most of these problems. We wouldn't have to come on the radio and tiptoe around issues. You wouldn't have to tiptoe around all this other stuff and businesses, and then we have all these ridiculous laws by any and everything. But you know, it just because nobody wants to be honest about anything. Everybody want to hide about everything. Everybody just be open and honest.
But look, we're so quick to throw
That's true.
scriptures behind anything LGBT. But when
I
we
ain't-
talk
I ain't
about,
even talking about-
I ain't
but
saying
I'm,
not
but
one
li-
scripture.
I know what you're
no,
saying.
but you know, we did it last week. Anytime we talk about it, people bring up that the gay community, they got the Bible said, the Bible said, the Bible said. Well, we ignore all the other sins, and then when you talk about who did sex before marriage, I put my hand up.
Oh, I put my
yeah.
hand
We
up too.
all sin, and we continue
Hey,
to sin.
but let me tell you
when it
this.
comes to
Michael
that
King.
community, I'm just
I'm gonna move back now.
I'm
Oh
just
my
saying,
goodness.
when it comes to that community, that's when all the scriptures get thrown to
No,
them,
no,
and our
this is the
sins
issue.
is on
Right,
that
yeah,
side.
no, but
That's
a lot of
different.
that is that's the people with the leadership who drive agendas and things. They push that more so. Now, if you go into other situations, like now, if I own a business on too, and you come in like, hey man, I've been cheating on my wife. You know what I'm saying?
You
And
gonna
I got to get a
beer
cake.
and a high five.
I'm gonna get a cake. I'm telling you, walk into my business, and man, I need a cake to make up my wife. I said, bruh, go to Publix. Don't come in here with that. You can't come to me straight up, and I'm Chris right now, and tell me you cheat on your wife. You need a cake to help. Nah, you go to Publix. You couldn't come in and tell me that. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't come and tell me that. I mean, if you just come and say you want a cake, if you want a cake, but don't come in and tell me, man, I've been doing this. And you know how brothers be sometimes. You walk into running to, bruh, man, I've been doing this, da-da-da, and da-da-da. Can you help me? No, I cannot.
And if every man
I'm
thought like
booked.
you, but
I am so
unfortunately,
full right
discriminate
now.
at
I'm
this point.
very busy.
but unfortunately, men, especially men, it's a badge of honor to sow your royal oath.
To some men, it is.
And they tell your son, and they tell their son, and so it's like,
But-
but
but-
that
but-
sin is okay.
But no, but see,
it's not
here's
about
again.
that.
Why they
But see,
gotta be
now
royal?
that's two
That's
separate
all I
arguments,
need to
though, because to a person who's to a guy that's really saving in church, he's not going to want to hear that. Now, it might have been a point in his life where he might have, but if he's changed, he don't like me. Honestly, I don't want to care. I don't care about all that. You come and tell me, man, I did this. Oh, okay, good for you. Now, if you had hollered at me a few years ago, I'm like, for real, dog.
Right, which is
Like,
what most men are like.
Oh my goodness.
That is so not true.
But
Yes, it is.
No,
But
most
I-
men are
so
not like
not
that.
true.
Seriously,
Yes, it is.
seriously. I've been
That's
younger, and you
sad
get around.
that you feel that way.
I've been even when I was in my early 20s, you'll be around some guy. They talking about like, man, I don't care
Don't
about all
know,
that,
man.
bro. That's your
Can't hear-
business.
Exactly. I don't
No,
know
that's
why.
your business.
But
That is not every man. It really is
You
not.
three
so true.
No,
are
that
the
is a misconception.
expectation.
No,
No,
I don't think
that's
men
all that
even
is. That's just
tell
about the
that.
people y'all been around.
Who is
Every-
y'all? Wait.
Hold on. We're not gonna go there.
Yeah. We're in a whole nother thing. I'm sorry. We don't jump way off. We don't jump way off. Okay,
Oh,
let's go. I'm sorry.
Got to do this.
I just
that,
want
and
to
the
say
other.
that.
But
that
my
Miss
daughter
McCrae
can't date
That's,
till she's 50.
That's some
Completely
history
wrong.
right
Come
there.
on.
I'm sorry.
That's some history, but we're
Somebody-
not going there.
I'm sorry.
I'm saying, you
We
know
done hot
I'm not
way.
lying.
Throw all
Had
us
a
in
bad
the
childhood.
the
No, I'm not.
But my point is,
You're wrong.
I just think if you own a business, and if you put your money, you better do what you got to do.
Bottom line, I agree. I think if you own a business, I think it's okay to at least be honest with somebody about the fact that you aren't comfortable, however you want to call it, whatever you want to phrase, that you don't want to do their business for whatever said reason. And I think that honesty that you give them is a benefit to everybody, because at least you're being honest. Because if you take the job and let's say because you didn't want to do the job, maybe you don't do the best job you could have did. I'd rather you been upfront and honest with me in the beginning that it wasn't something you were comfortable with than to do it and then not do the best because you were uncomfortable or whatever the case may be. And I think as an owner, you should have a right to at least be honest with a person and say that you don't want my business. But as long as you're respectful about it, I think, here's thousands of other shops, hundreds of other shops in the city that will gladly do it or whatever the case may be. I think you should at least have the option to do that without fear that because you did that, now you're going to get sued by somebody. I think that you should have that option.
Slippery slope.
They're just gonna get smart and say, "Well, I'm booked for this weekend. Sorry."
And do that.
Yeah,
That'll
that's
save
what's
you
gonna
from
happen.
litigation.
That's exactly what's gonna happen.
But see, then that's lying. But that's a sin.
But
So now
again-
I gotta commit a sin
And you're right.
because I don't agree with the sin you doing. No, I'm not doing it. I'm just gonna be straight up with you.
But I'm being
I ain't
straight
doing
up
it.
with you. You right, and it's still gonna happen.
And if it's
is what it
discrimination,
is.
law of the land.
All right, man.
I'm just saying.
Jason, any other thing that's going on, man, we should be aware of?
I think he hung up.
Oh, did
That's
you go?
it, man. But
Oh, no,
we,
there
we, we are much more intelligent than this.
Much more.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man. Jason, man, we appreciate you calling in, man.
All right, y'all be easy, man.
You
All
too.
right.
All right, Jason.
Jason's the best.
Hot topics, man. People get upset, man. People get upset when you talk about
I'm just,
sex
I'm,
with
I'm
them.
just,
I mean,
I'm,
they
son.
want
I'm what I am
respect,
sick and tired of.
but
Really,
they don't
Tired of
respect
it.
I
your
just
religion.
don't like the
Really?
society we're in with. You just can't be honest no more. That's what I don't like. If we just be open and honest, we just be open and honest with everything. Because to me, it's like I say, somebody say, "Hey, I don't want to serve you because you're black." I'm like, in this day and age now, oh, okay, no problem. I get on Facebook, hey, don't go over here. They don't serve black people. You know what I'm saying? So then, no black people go over there. Then 9 times out of 10, no Spanish people going over there. And eventually, some of their white customers not going to go over there. So it'll affect them economically. So then, now they can say, well, you know what? Then maybe they'll make that change. And if they don't, they run out of business. But that's, they put the money up. That's them. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I know we did a lot for that. All that. I know. Don't get me wrong. I'm not discounting no lunch counter sit-ins or anything of that nature, because I know that's gonna be the next thing coming up. What about this, that? I'm not discounting that. But in this day and age, where there's more opportunity and more of us, we can economic. I was just listening to Tammy Green's show yesterday and was saying how our buying power is in the trillions now.
Yeah.
So it's like, please tell me you don't want to serve me. If we can say, hey, we're not going to that chain no more. You know how
But,
how we'll run folks out of business?
We don't have any buying power because we don't come together.
That's the
we
part.
have,
That's part of the issue. But I'm just saying,
So, but we do have buying power. We're just not using our
you're
buying
not using
power
it
correctly.
collectively.
Then we don't
We're not
have
using
the
it
power.
correctly. So we have it. We just don't use it effectively, which
Right.
is a lot of the problems that we have in our community. We don't effectively use each other in the sense to coming together to do what's right, man. But we want to thank you for listening to us. This is Real Family Talk. This is WOKB 1680 AM, your urban empowerment inspiration station.
Tune in next week from 9 to 10 p.m. and every Wednesday from 9 to 10 p.m. on WOKB 1680, your urban empowerment and inspiration station. See you.
My brother, my brother.
to 1680 WOKB AM, Winter Garden, Florida.
It's Gospel 1680 WOKB, your urban empowerment and inspiration station. I'm your host all night long, Brother Chris Shaw, bringing you the best in gospel. Get ready for a new adventure, a new season, a new time of dynamic praise. Let's get into some great gospel music right here, right now on the greatest gospel station in the land. We are WOKB.
Look at me, I'm all the way turned up. I ain't smoking, but my homie in here burnt up. Yeah, I'm working on him, but he straight though. Couple girls tryna twerk it on me, wait, no. Hold up. Before you even roll up, I'm in here with my lady, can't you see me, man, I'm sold up. Man, I'm in here tryna celebrate a birthday. And you know I'm good and well, it's a work day. No matter, we still gon' kick it, and we ain't getting trippy. No Molly in Mississippi, ain't fighting nobody, ain't nobody said trip. And Southeast Dago in the building, shout out to Peter Pan.